Hello. So this afternoon I was tagged in a post about a video by a friend of mine who we'll just refer to him as him who throws sledgehammers across the service bay. And the video was a very famous gun tuber reviewing a high point pistol caliber carbine. Because we joke about things like that. And it brought me back to a point that I've been saying for a while now, and if you're new to guns, I really want you to listen. Really, just this is the most important thing you could hear if you're new to firearms. Do not buy a high point. They are the complete trash. They are exactly the trash that was shown in that video. They have every problem you can imagine. I do not recommend them. However, I know some people say they have great luck with them. I'm going off of my experiences, what I've seen, and what the people around me have dealt with. High points are trash. They're not built well. They're very gritty. The trigger is terrible. It's a single stack magazine. The safety is stiff. Everything on it makes it an unpleasant firearm to shoot, and they jam constantly. Now, I know people have had better luck with the pistols than the carbines. I found that the pistol was a little more reliable than the carbine, but I don't recommend it. As to the carbine, I have nothing good to say. I've fired one in 9mm and one in 40 S&W. Failure to cycle, failure to fire, no accuracy, failure to feed. It's a jam-o-matic. Please save your money. I know that a lot of people are enticed by the price. A high point pistol will run you between $130 and $150. I don't recommend it. Wait a little while longer and buy something better. And you don't have to hold on and wait until you have, $700 to $800. There is a subcompact or compact, I forget which, by Taurus. It's called the Taurus Slim. It's like $220. A lot of people say, oh, High Point has a lifetime guarantee. Sure, so does Taurus, so does Smith & Wesson. Most places do. I really cannot stress enough, if you don't want to look like an idiot, don't buy a High Point. Because you will look like the guys I've seen at the range who are all excited about their new pistol. It's the first one they've bought, or they read about it online, how it's indestructible, and they're so excited, or their first carbine, and they come out and it jams. And they don't know what to do, and they don't know how to handle it, and it jams again. And it's just on and on. Or like in that video that I was sent, if you watch the full video, the front sight fell off. That's a problem. There are much better options out there. Don't let price be the selling point. To put that in perspective, I was talking with a gentleman I know who works for a large gun dealer, and they have high points there. They're contracted for them, I guess. They carry them. His words to me were he tries to talk people out of them because there's no trade-in value on them, because no one wants to work on them because they're not worth anything. There's a lot of inherent problems, and because they break so constantly, they're constantly coming back and being resent to be fixed. That's just a recipe for disaster. Especially in your first firearm, it is so important to have something you can rely on. Number one, because you want something you can rely on. And number two, because you don't want to be clearing jams constantly when you're firing your first firearm, because it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong when it's not you, it's just a piece of crap. I understand that I'm using emphatic language, but I really don't want to see anybody taken in by this. The things I saw in that video with the carbine, like I said earlier, are exactly what I saw. And I just cannot stress enough how it's a bad idea. If you want a pistol caliber carbine, there's many others out there. Are they all at that $230 or $300 price point, which I think was roughly where the high points that I worked with were? No. But save a little bit more. Buy yourself an AR-9 or any of the other ones out there. KSG makes one. Once again, I'm not saying they're better, but they're better. Anything out there will be better. Ruger made a pistol caliber carbine that wasn't terrible. Just, to me, it feels like a scam, really. Sure, they draw you in with that short price and, their fancy, we'll write E-Cannon on the side. That's because they have nothing else to offer you. I really don't want to see anyone taken in by these. Maybe someday in the future, High Point will revamp and become better. There was a time when Mossbergs were not considered very good. Look at them now. There's been other gun companies that have done that, that have turned themselves around. Maybe in the future, High Point will. I just don't see it. The one thing that I will say is on the pistols, the handles are fairly comfortable. But that giant block that reciprocates when you fire it makes it unpleasant. Just stay away from it. You know, you're going to see a lot of stuff on the internet talking about how great they are. Perfect example of an in-person example of that. I was at a cousin of mine's house, big gun guy, has some wonderful, wonderful firearms. And in his safe, I saw a High Point C9. And I asked him, why do you have that thing in there next to these $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 pieces? And he said, oh boy, you know, it's indestructible. Haven't you read about it? I said, okay, have you fired it yet? And he said, no. And I said, get back to me when you have, because I have, and they're awful. Now, that being said, if it's the only firearm you can afford, buy a knife. They're just not, I mean, they're a spork. I really recommend you buy something else. And, you know, I mean, I hate to say this, but save up another $100 and buy a Glock. I mean, even that would be a step up. So, just before anyone gets taken in by that, you know, this is my experience with these firearms. They're not good, and I hope you don't buy one. So, thank you for listening to me rant about that, and he who throws sledgehammers across the bay, thank you for inspiring this. So, we'll talk to you next time.